y'all. Welcome to Hustle Humbly. It's Alyssa and Katie, and we are two top producing realtors in the Baton Rouge market.
We work for two different companies where we should be competitors, but we have chosen community over competition.
The goal of our podcast is to encourage you to find your own way in business.
So stop comparing yourself and start embracing your strengths. All right, this is episode number 49.
Perfect.
Do your job.
We noticed that in some of our previous episodes, we tend to say this a good bit.
We say this a lot. And another thing that I'm going to mention, mindful. I say the word mindful a lot.
We need to be mindful.
You must be mindful.
I can hear you saying it in all the
Yes,
episodes.
I do say it a lot. I would like to start this episode by saying that we want to come at this from a place of positivity and not a preachy place, but there is a chance that this might get a scotch preachy. I'm going to try and tone that down because the title in itself sounds a little preachy, like do your job.
Right.
But do your job.
Yeah, just do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
I feel like this was wow. I feel like this is a good episode that would piggyback the episode on bare necessities.
Agree.
Like just doing the basics of what we are expected to do right now.
Yes, and do it well.
Do it well.
Do what you're supposed to do it well, and then add.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get involved in all the fluff too early on.
Right.
Okay.
It seems that agents are trying to do so many different things.
Yep.
And wear so many different hats. And they're overcomplicating the system.
Yeah, or they don't have a system.
No systems at all.
Yep.
Or they're so busy trying to get more business.
Right.
That they're not taking care of the business that they have.
Okay.
They're dropping the ball.
Yep.
Like our only job is to manage the transaction.
I want to say something here. You often say that you're client employed.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a note for do your job. The weird thing about being a realtor is that you don't have a boss in your office, a singular person who's coming after you and saying, you must do this, you must do that. You're not doing this right. You're doing, let's have a performance review, if you will. Okay, right. No one's doing that. But each of your clients is your boss.
Yes.
And I think what we take for granted is that if you do a poor job with them, well, you just won't work with that one again. But you're not going to get fired. Like, transaction's over.
Yes.
In essence, you won't get necessarily fired. You just won't be used again. And that's when you have to chase a bunch of leads.
Yes. And the problem is, too, is that maybe the first time you don't really feel the effect. But over time, if you're not providing good service to anybody,
you have to constantly be searching for leads.
Yes.
And that is where it's so much easier now. And this is Katie. Now that I am nearly 15 years into this, I'm not going to lie, y'all. I don't do lead gen.
Mm-mm.
I don't do any lead gen. I'm gonna hold up, raise my hand. I don't do any lead gen.
Right.
I only take care of the people who I currently have, and then the referrals come.
By year 5, 6, you're supposed to be in a really good place.
Yes.
And that happens by doing your job well. But we have said before, if you don't start dodoing your job well until year 4,
right,
then maybe
you don't get to count the first 3 years.
Yeah, you don't get to count the first 3 years. They don't count. So by year 8 or 9 for you,
then you'll get getting the referrals.
Mm-hmm.
I think that also if you don't have a boss in the traditional sense of the word boss, we have to hold each other accountable for being professional and getting the job done correctly.
Yes.
So if you are working with a newer agent as a seasoned agent, instead of being annoyed that they don't know what to do, ask them or gently guide them along the transaction. Model for them good behavior. And don't just be like, oh, like I'm so aggravated about this. Right. I think that we have to learn from each other and we have to hold each other accountable because there isn't a boss that's going to come and fire you if you don't do the right thing. You're just going to go on to the next client.
You'll slowly be ruining your reputation one client at a time.
And one agent at a time.
One agent at a time.
We often forget as a whole that if you do a poor job with the agent that you're working with, your co-oping agent, they're not going to want to work with you if you bring an offer on their other listing. I mean, this happens to me. I see the name on who's showing my property and I think, ooh, I hope they don't write me an offer.
Right. This is going to be a rough one.
I mean, it's just not worth it.
Well, you're going to have to do their job too.
Yes.
Don't be that agent.
Don't be that agent. Mm-hmm. Okay. So be mindful.
Yes, be mindful. I had a transaction recently And the agent was someone like I knew of, see around, does a lot of self-promotion.
Okay, good at the advertising.
Yes. So I was, thinking, oh, great, this will be good.
Right.
No.
It was bad.
It was so bad.
Oh, man.
And then at the closing table, I had the listing. The buyers showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so I had asked the agent if he could grab my lockbox whenever he went for the walkthrough. And he said yes. Well, the buyers show up. They look kind of lost. We start signing, and I'm like, is your agent coming? Well, I don't think, we don't know. But I said, well, didn't y'all just do your final walkthrough?
Like right before.
Yes. And she said, yeah, but he didn't come. He just left the key out for us.
Like, whoa.
I know. And I'm like, well, where is my lockbox?
Right. I also need that lockbox.
So I had to go to the house and get it because he didn't do the walkthrough with them. He didn't come to closing.
Wow.
And that was just one of like 5 things that happened. And these poor buyers were just
And they don't,
lost.
But here's the thing. They don't even know the difference.
Right.
So they are just like, oh, and that's why the general public has a negative feeling about agents. It's because every agent that does a bad job is a reflection on you, even if you're always doing the right thing.
Sure.
And I think that's part of the problem. But if you can't show up to closing, that's your job. That's your number one job.
You didn't even communicate with them to let them know.
I won't be there. Or I have never missed a closing that I didn't send another agent to.
Right. Someone needs to be there.
I'm out of town. My broker will go. Another agent from my office will go. I've gone to closings for other agents in my office. Y'all, it's not hard to find an agent. This goes back to which episode were we talking about finding? I think it's the one with curveballs.
Oh,
you got to partner with somebody. Maybe let them be your accountability partner and they do your job aspect, but let them be your partner if you can't do part of your job and you need help.
Right.
We have to ask for help.
Yes.
We have to ask for help to get our job done.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about, my next note says, this is not a hobby.
Right. Right.
This is not a hobby. And I don't want to beat up on or make them feel bad, but if you're a part-time agent, you've got to figure out a way to be mindful that the other half of that transaction typically is a full-time career realtor who is with their family at 9 p.m. and not ready to do real estate work. They did it during business hours if they could.
Right.
And so if you have a job, your regular real job, I'm doing my air quotes, if your regular job doesn't allow you to send email, make phone calls, shoot a text message during 8 to 6 business hours, real estate's not for you.
No.
Mm-mm. I mean, it's one thing if you're doing it for a small amount of time to get like your feet on the ground and then you're going to go full time. That's totally different. But if you just want to be able to do a transaction here and there, it's a disservice to your clients. It's impossible for you to do your job in those hours and do it well.
Right.
It's just not going to work out. So my other note about this is even if you're a full-time realtor and you're busy, if your workload has gotten to the point where you can't keep track of what you're doing, you're not allowed to take on more clients.
Right. If your service is lacking, if you're dropping the ball, if you're not doing your job,
then you can't do your job.
You can't ask for more business.
You cannot take on another client. And that's why you need a partner, an accountability partner, a support partner, support system, another agent. I'm not saying you have to be a team, but you can be like, team-like.
Yeah, have an assistant.
Send the extra clients there. Take a referral fee, but don't take them all because your scarcity mindset causes you to feel like you've got to work with every single person. If you're super busy, you're not allowed to take another client.
Well, if you're not doing your job well,
right,
you are losing your clients one at a time because those people are going to tell their friends and,
it's not good.
It's not good. Not a good situation.
Have you ever had I know you've told at least one story of this. Have you ever had another agent during a transaction give you their client's phone number?
I think that has only it has happened twice.
Okay.
And they said, well, you explain it to them, whatever it was.
Right.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I did. And
they
it
were
went
like,
well.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yes, thank you.
Problem solved. Right. but you can't do everybody's job. I had it happen one time that I remember specifically. It was my listing. And finally, like when I would ask questions about where are we at in the process, how are things going, when are we closing, blah, blah, blah. The agent was just like, here's the number of the buyer. You figure it out. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I proceeded to have almost an entire year's worth of contact with this guy because, quite honestly, he wrote a contract and never did close. And he kept saying that it was like he was a cash buyer and the money's coming soon. And it was just a disaster. I mean, like they did inspections. We were set to close. And then all of a sudden the money's not around. And I had direct contact with someone else's client because they did not want to do it anymore.
There was actually 3 times.
You remember? See?
I do. I'm just thinking about all the times. There have been times where a buyer's agent, I had the listing, sent me a cancellation out of nowhere and said my client just got cold feet, blah, 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 whatever the deal. He's not listening to us. And in that one, I said, can I talk to your buyer?
Yeah.
And when I talked to him, he was just this scared, first-time home buyer, young kid buying his first house, didn't understand something about it.
Right.
They were annoyed with him.
Right, because they probably didn't have time.
They didn't have time to hold his hand.
Yeah.
We canceled the cancellation.
You and the buyer.
Yes.
Good for you.
And we closed.
Good for you.
I'm like, I wanted to tell the other agents, hey, I'll take both checks at closing.
You should have.
Thanks. Because without you,
right.
It was just so frustrating.
It can be frustrating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've never given my clients information.
Never.
To another agent. Mm-mm. But that's the kind of stuff that happens out there. And I think that's not doing your job.
No.
It's just not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
What about returning calls, emails, and texts? Is that on your list?
So I have answer your phone and email on here as a part of doing your job.
Right.
I am amazed at how many agents don't check their email.
I agree. And here's a weird one, because I do check my email, but like you were just saying in the last episode, you try not to do it outside of what you're trying to make your office hours.
Yeah.
I had a recent, within the last month, agent send me an offer on my listing to my email only, no phone call, no text message, just an email that I almost didn't see until the next morning because it was after like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Now, if you're sending an email outside of work hours and it's urgent, you might also need to follow that up with a call or a text.
Yeah. Hey, offer in your email.
So weird.
That is weird.
But I think you have to, when you're communicating, no matter what way, confirm that the other party has received your message. Mm-hmm. Confirm the other party knows you. Just answer.
Yeah.
Be responsive. I think being responsive is part of doing your job. And if you're not in a place in your life where you can take a phone call, text message, or email, again, this may not be the job for you.
So I pretended one time to be a seller.
Okay.
I was probably doing research for our, a topic for our podcast, but I Googled something about how to pick your agent, blah, blah, blah. And there's advice out there to the consumer that says, call them and don't leave a message.
And see what happens.
Do they call you back? How long does it take?
Okay.
Email them and see how long does it take to get a response. And they said the reason is too, if this person's going to be listing your house, do they answer their phone when somebody wants to see it?
Right.
Like when someone calls the sign, are they going to reach this agent?
No.
And I thought, oh my gosh, because like when I was in the restaurant industry, we would get secret shopped.
Yes.
And that's kind of what this was.
I was in retail, same thing.
Yes, and that was a huge deal.
You're like, whoa.
You could lose your job if you got secret shopped and failed.
Yeah.
And same situation here. If you don't answer, or if you're not getting back to your clients timely.
Yeah.
Anytime I miss a seller's call, I'm always like, oh my gosh, I need to call them back so fast because I don't want them to think
that you're not. Yeah, they're not a priority.
Does she not answer other calls? What if I was calling about my house?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So,
that's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. You gotta actually return the call. Now, if someone called me and didn't leave a message, I'm probably not going to call them back.
I know.
Because he gets so much spam and so many like sales calls.
Like if it's important, leave a message.
Yeah, so I think that would trip me up. Now, if they sent me an email, I certainly would respond. And typically I try to answer the phone.
Yes.
But if I had missed it and they didn't leave a message, I don't know, I might fail that one. I will tell you this though. If I need to hire an agent, if I want to refer an agent to a client who's moving out of state, that's one of my tasks. I do the exact same thing. I send an email typically to 3 agents and see who answers first. And I call like 3 agents.
I just got a response I was really impressed with. I was referring a client to an agent in New Orleans.
Okay.
And it was a certain area of New Orleans. And I asked our broker there, like, who is there, and she gave me a name.
Yeah.
It wasn't someone I really knew, but she was like, that's the area.
That's the one, yeah.
So I sent them an email, and within 10 minutes, had an email back saying, we would love to help. I'm more than happy to pay you a referral. I love that area. I have 3 or 4 in my mind I want to show them. I can't wait to talk to them.
Yeah, I love it.
I was like, I don't know. It was just
You're this is a good response.
Yeah, like they already like had good ideas.
Yes.
And, it was just,
I think that's good. Like a real positive response.
Yeah, more than just like, sure, happy to help.
Right. You're like,
you already have ideas.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah. I was very impressed.
They were ready to do their job.
That one thing I had written down about doing your job that I have been on and off struggling with as a listing agent is it is our job to communicate regularly with our sellers specifically.
Right.
Buyers, it's easy because you're always communicating with them.
Right.
There's always prompts and things happening.
Yeah, well, even if they're still just looking, they're telling you about this. Right.
With sellers, I mean, they want to know, what am I paying you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for?
Yeah.
Not that we make that, but in their mind, they're like, I signed.
They're paying it.
Yeah. It's coming out of their pocket. So what are they getting? And I can't even get an update from you on what's going on.
Oh, yeah. I don't ever want my seller to have to ask me, but sometimes
it happens.
Anxious. And
it does happen.
They want an update way too often. But I do have to explain to them. I just told a seller this recently. I'm like, it's the summer. Yes, it's the busy season of real estate, but it also is the season of people maybe traveling. Maybe they're like, and I told her, I'm like, look, you might go for a week with no showings and then have 3 showings on one day.
Right.
I cannot tell you why, other than that is the way it goes. But as soon as someone comes, I will try to get you feedback. Mm-hmm. But there are anxious sellers that no matter how much you tell them, I will give you feedback when I have it. They still ask.
Hello, friends. We are so excited that so many of you are using the template course, and the reviews are just pouring in, letting us know that it has helped your business as much as it has helped our business.
Yes, listen to this review. Thank you so much for providing this wealth of information, knowledge in template form. So far, I've used a handful and received positive feedback like, this is so professional, or I really appreciate how organized you are. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah,
your clients are actually going to say that.
Yes.
All right, here's another one. Thank you so much for this. I can't tell you how many times I've started this and how many notebooks of samples and notes I had. I have ADHD and it is super hard to stay focused on getting it done. Having it all in one place is going to make it so nice.
That is what we're here for.
I know. Just look, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just use these.
Yeah, nice and simple, easy, ready to go, ready for you to put your own logo on, make it sound like you. So head over to hustlehumblypodcast.com/course and check it out.
That's right.
And you're going to enjoy them. You're going to love them.
It's going to
change your life.
Literally fired my assistant. They are the best.
Okay, enjoy the template.
Yes, enjoy.
I know we're not perfect, okay?
No.
And this happens to me too. But I know I have dropped the ball when my clients are asking me, hey, did you get that air conditioning receipt?
Yep.
Or, it's our job to manage the transaction.
Yes.
We are here to remind them about utilities and to check on repairs.
They don't know.
If there's a surprise at closing day with repairs, that's the agent's fault.
Yeah, and I wrote the same exact thing down. You should be managing the transaction. You should be managing it. You should be sidestepping those landmines. You shouldn't be finding out at the inspection that the utilities are off. You should have already told the seller not to turn them off. Like, you've got to tell them what's happening. You also have to be the one following up with the lender, the appraiser, and the title company.
Right.
That is not on your seller. You need to be, or even if you're the buyer's agent, why don't you should be following up? Is the appraisal scheduled?
Mm-hmm.
When are they going out?
Mm-hmm.
When do I need to check in with the listing agent? Like, you should be following up on all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that some people that listen have like transaction coordinators or assistants or other people that do contract to close. I still think that you should be aware of what's going on in
where are we?
Yeah, in your transactions. I think this part of the process is the part where you get the chance to provide good customer service.
Yes.
And hence get referrals for the future.
Mm-hmm.
If you just take the listing and then ghost, or get the buyer under contract and ghost, and all of a sudden they're hearing from no one, or they're just hearing from your assistant, well, you've missed all that opportunity to do your job, build the relationship, provide the customer service. Now, hopefully your assistant's doing an excellent job, but I don't know. I personally like being involved there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that it's helpful.
Well, the reason I don't have a team, and if I, like, even when I have my assistant now, like, my goal is that my clients have no idea that I have an assistant.
Right, because there's plenty of stuff they can be doing
that
isn't forward facing to clients.
That you don't see them. Yeah. You never speak to them. You always speak to me. And that's just about relationship building. And there's things that, like, my assistant can do for me that they don't even know.
Yeah.
I didn't do. Like, if for example, one was like, oh my gosh, the key's not working. I'm going to have to go get this extra key made and blah, blah, blah. And, like, I just went and got my assistant went and got the extra key made.
Yeah.
Who cares who did it? You know what I mean? Like,
done.
It's done. And they were like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. But I think that there's so much that we need to be involved with the people. Like, think about it, y'all. We're so excited to get a new client.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. Right. The whole thing is about, I want more business.
Yep.
Then you get the business. And what are you doing with it?
Yeah.
Are you serving it well? Are you performing in a way that is going to get you future referrals, excellent reviews?
Yeah.
Or are they like, well, that agent, she's really good at Instagram, but I never heard from her the whole time.
Right. And then they can see you spending time on that.
Yes.
That's hard.
Yes.
You should be aiming to get a good review or testimonial.
Right.
But you can't get that if you're not doing your job.
No.
They're going to know.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they don't know what the steps are supposed to be, they're going to know when you didn't get it done.
Yeah.
I think that part of your job is also understanding the math. And I know we're not all friends of the math. But I had a dear friend who became an agent, and she, sweet. She would, if she listens, it's fine. She couldn't do the math. She wasn't a math person. I walked her through seller, because I was kind of training her in a way. Walked her through seller net sheets and percentages. She's like, oh, I just barely got through this in the, real estate class. I don't know if I can handle this. I'm like, whoa, if you can't do the math, it's not going to work. Again, it's not going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be able to tell your seller, how do you get to a seller net? How do you figure out the percentages? How can you,
are you checking your closing disclosures?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Do you know how many agents aren't checking that? Making sure how many times have you done a closing cost addendum during repairs? There's $1,000. It's not on there. It didn't make it. I mean, was the home warranty ordered? Is the commission correct?
Because here's the thing. Your buyer seller may not notice that until after closing, or not at all.
Mm-hmm.
So you could cost your client $1,000 or $5,000. You could cost them money.
Yes.
They assume that you can check behind and make sure it all gets done.
The closing table is not the time to check the closing disclosure.
No, I always crack up when the title company slides it over to me. I'm like, I look at the bottom number and I'm like, I'm straight.
Right.
Because if this number doesn't match what I've already looked at, then there's a problem. I'm like, why? No, thank you.
Yeah.
We don't want to change this now. And I love catching a mistake on a CD before it's closing time.
Yes.
And the buyer or seller is like,
I've earned my worth.
Thank you so much. I didn't even notice that. And I'm like, yep, that's what I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the job. Yeah. I mean, you got to be prepared for that stuff.
Yeah. I had an agent who I really like him. He's fun. He's like a good person. But
I feel like you only work with dudes.
Lately, I have had
every story you tell is about a dude.
Agents. I know. I hate to say this, but a lot of them end with them not having systems in place. Okay.
I'm sorry, dudes, if you're listening.
I don't know if it's coincidence. I'm not picking on the dudes. It just so happens that
I'm just cracking up.
that's what's happening.
The majority of agents are female, and your stories are all dudes.
It seems like the dudes are giving me a little bit more.
They're giving you a run for your money.
Problems.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, anyways, the buyer, I guess, would ask him so many, he'd be like, Alyssa, can you get the HOA information? Alyssa, where's the garage clicker? Alyssa, where's the extra key? Alyssa, where's this? And then like after closing, he's like, hey, what about utilities? And I'm like, we closed. Like
you didn't call for
utilities. And then he said something that was because I noticed that this had been going on like the whole time. He's constantly texting me with all these questions that like he should have. Your buyer wouldn't have all these questions
if you told them up front.
If you told them up front and you read everything, and you knew where it was. But he said, I feel like all of my transactions go this way. He said, are your buyers like this needy?
No.
I was like, no, they're not.
They get a bunch of email templates that tell them how to
They get a bunch of email templates about how to contact the HOA, how to get utilities transferred into their name, who to call, what to do, what to expect, what to bring to closing.
Right.
Like they don't ask me a million bazillion questions before and after
I've already answered them.
Yeah.
Also, if they do need to ask me a question, I answer it and I'm not annoyed.
No. Yeah.
This is the job.
Okay, I have that written down.
What?
Complainers. We
Tell
all
me about the complainers.
Know them.
Yes.
And look, I need to vent at times, and there's things that you just got to get out.
Some clients are difficult.
Some clients are difficult. Some clients, there's a difference between difficult and rude.
And there's a difference between difficult and simply needing what you should have to provide for them.
Yes.
I mean, as part of your job.
Exactly. And owning when it is your fault.
But do you find there are some agents out there that complain about the actual job? And I'm like,
yes.
But that's maybe this isn't for you.
Right.
Like what you have, I've met agents who don't like people.
Right.
I'm like, but
you'd be a good manager or something.
That's the whole job.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, you need to maybe work solo somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't like people, if you can't deal with emotional situations, if you don't have these certain, skill sets or, then this is not for you.
Right.
Or find a way that can be for you. I don't know. Maybe you need to be a sales agent at a model home or maybe you should work in rentals. I don't know. Maybe there is some facet or maybe you should be in commercial.
I feel like commercial agents or a lender where the majority of your communication is behind the computer.
And very matter of fact and not
factual numbers and whatnot.
Yeah. There are ways to still be in real estate and maybe not be client forward facing.
But nothing makes me more sad than the agents that are like, I need business. It's not going so good. Real estate is so hard. I hate my client. I hate my buyer. I hate my seller. I'm like, you hate what you're wishing for.
Right.
Like you got exactly what you wanted and you have nothing nice to say about it.
Yes.
And it's just our job.
Well, and you get more of what you focus on.
Mm-hmm.
I firmly believe that. So if all you ever talk about is your annoying client and not the good clients, and all you ever talk about are the annoying parts of real estate, I'm not saying there are not annoying parts of this job by no means. But if that's all you talk about, all you focus on, all you think about, that's all you're going to get.
Right.
More of that. I mean, you have to celebrate and be happy and think about and be grateful for all of the parts of the job that you like.
Yes.
Like, I love the part whenever my client sent me cake balls last week.
I saw that.
Oh my
God. That was so cute.
So amazing.
That was really cute.
This will follow up to last episode. Those are my clients that had the twins and almost lost their house because their lender was a moron.
Wow.
And then they sent me cake balls because you know why? I worked.
Yes. You earned it. You earned those cake balls.
Look, I don't get a gift from every client, and I don't think I should. But when I get a gift, I always think, oh my God, like they really recognize that I was working
so hard.
I mean, when a seller gives you a gift, that blows my mind because they paid.
Right.
Like they're the ones that paid
me.
Like I'm like, no gifts needed.
Right.
You paid.
Yes.
But sometimes they're just like, thank you so much. I mean, like that I spend all that time focusing on the people and how happy they are and where they're going and how grateful they were and how like wonderful. And I've had terrible clients.
Mm-hmm.
I could spend all day
Mm-hmm.
thinking about terrible clients.
Right.
But that's just what you're going to get more of.
It is.
So I think that, you get what you focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Simple. That's it.
I think it's equally as important. It's, with electronic signatures these days, we are not going through what they are signing with them.
I know, and I hate it.
And I know this isn't in our template course, really, because every state purchase agreement is different. But this is what I have one that I use, for the Louisiana one. But before I send them the purchase agreement to sign, I have like a short email with bullet points that says,
okay,
line 24 shows where I asked for the refrigerator, washer, and dryer to remain.
Okay.
Line 36 has the close date. This is the day that you get the keys.
Okay.
I say, call me if you have any question, but these are the important things that you need to know about.
I like that.
This is the deposit. And I just copy and paste it
right
before I send the electronic signatures.
Like that.
But making sure, if your clients take a refrigerator, they said they were leaving, I think that is partially the agent's fault.
Yeah.
Because it's like it got lost in translation somewhere.
Well, because that's also on your move out checklist.
Yes.
Like, hey, friends.
And sometimes it just happens, And
yeah.
You can't always not make mistakes, but.
Well, no, I think the other part of doing your job is owning your mistake.
Yes.
I
have to do that.
Oh, we all do. If you made the mistake, don't try and make excuses or push it off on someone else. Make it right and say you're sorry.
Right.
I mean, that's really the best you can do. I'm sorry, my fault. I forgot to send the addendum. I did whatever it is. Like, I'm not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're busy, it's really hard to be even close to perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. I also think that doing your job requires you to have actual, repeatable systems, including buyer and seller workflows.
Y'all, you cannot wing it.
You cannot wing it.
It's impossible.
You cannot wing it. If you are currently winging it, please stop.
Stop. Go back to our previous episodes where we talk about database, where we talk about the bare necessities, where we talk about templates, where we talk about systems. There is so much that you need in place.
Yes.
And it's not hard stuff. It's things that you're just going to do over and over again.
What do you do after you get a contract? What do you do before closing? What do you do after closing? I mean, what do you need to tell your clients during the transaction?
So this agent actually texted me last week.
Okay.
Brand new agent. I really don't know them. I didn't have their number saved or whatever.
Right.
Hey, Alyssa, I was just wondering if any of your podcast episodes are how to target for sale by owners. I'm a new agent and I'm just looking for some resources. I said, no, because we don't really target for sale by owners.
You don't want to ask us. We're not going to help.
You don't want to ask us because we don't talk about it. I said, but there's a lot of good episodes on, how to get business
what
and
to do
ideas and brainstorm. I said, the database one is our most listened to. Oh, great. I don't have a database. Guess what? You need a database before you're trying to target for sale by owners.
Right.
Like, people are not going in the right order.
Or they're going to do things that they think they're supposed to be doing. They're going to hate it and they're going to quit.
Yeah, that's why the fail rate is so high.
I know. But I mean, honestly, if you do the things that we have taught up to now, you could succeed when otherwise you might fail.
Sure.
And you might be miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And you won't have any systems.
None.
And then you'll be working reactionary and you'll be working all the time. And you'll be constantly apologizing or trying to blame it on someone else because you won't be doing your job.
Right.
There's
just, the thing is that it really is simple.
It is really simple.
The problem is we are not prioritizing what is truly important.
Right.
To last long term and to get repeat and referral business and to make the real money.
Right.
Your clients need to be number one.
Yeah.
With how are you communicating with them? I've always said, even if I don't sell the listing and it expires and they list with someone else, I want them to be like, wow, at least Alyssa did things. This new person, like, we never even hear from them.
Right. Well, they'll find out quickly it wasn't you.
Yes, exactly.
So that is nice.
So it's like, I sleep well at night knowing I did what I was supposed to.
Yes.
Even if it didn't get the sale.
Right.
I know that it's not from lack of me not doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, right.
Sometimes it just happens.
Sometimes it does just happen.
Yeah.
You have to be able to deal with that. But I think you're right. If you know you did all the parts that you were supposed to do and it wasn't you, some people don't even know what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So they constantly live in that feeling of, it must be me.
Right. And that's a sad place to live.
It's terrible.
You don't have to live there.
I know, but nobody gives you a manual that tells you how to be a realtor.
That's why we're here.
That's what we're doing. Nobody tells you what's normal, what's right, what's wrong. Real estate school is a joke. It does not teach you anything about selling real estate or dealing with people or any of that stuff.
Right.
How to do your job. There is nothing other than the math. I will give it to them. The math that you learn in real estate school is important. You don't think so? Oh my God, my real estate school taught the pyramid to do percentages.
Okay.
I'll have to do some like visual aids, I guess, on Instagram. But they did the pyramid on how to do percentages. It's great. Like, what percentage is 90,000 of 100,000 or what? Like, okay, I mean, that's too easy, but
sure,
hard numbers. But I was like, oh, this is so helpful. Pyramid, the math pyramid.
Okay.
I use it all the time.
Very interesting.
Either way, that's about all I learned in real estate school and how much jail time I can get.
Right. Lots of ways to lose your license out there.
Lots of ways. Don't be that. Do your job. Anything else on your note list?
No, I think that was it.
That was short and sweet.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
want people
it's not hard. You can do this.
And I wonder who would listen to this episode. Like, do you think people are like, do your job? I don't want to hear that. I think the people that might listen and be like, oh, I'm so annoyed with XYZ agent.
Yes.
Why can't they just do their job?
Do the job. But don't be the agent that people are wishing did their job.
Y'all, this is about education though, because most agents that are not doing their job don't have a clue what they're missing. They don't have a clue what they're not doing. They don't have a clue. And I think it is our responsibility, as I said in the beginning, as agents and professionals, to somehow gently get that message across to the agent you're co-oping with. Hey, have you ordered the inspection? Like, when will you drop the deposit?
Right.
What about the appraisal? Is it ordered? I mean, some agents may be newer and maybe just don't know what they need to be doing.
Right.
I've had agents who are newer who admitted, I'm new. This is my first transaction.
Great. I'll help you.
Happy to help. Happy to help.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh, I've never had this kind of transaction, or this is my first listing, or, don't. Just tell the other agent.
Sure.
There's no reason to hide it.
No.
We can work together. It's called a co-op agent.
Yeah. We're cooperating.
Right. We're supposed to be
together.
Cooperating. Let's make this happen together, because if one of us doesn't get paid, neither of us is getting paid.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. That's all I've got. Do you want to toast, or do you have anything else?
You can toast.
Okay, I'm going to toast. So today's toast comes to us from our good friend, Chelsea Peterson.
Yay.
At the Modern Agent Social Club. She is going to toast two of her amazing agents, Christina Molo, who, for the record, frequently posts that she's listening to Hustle Humbly whilst walking her dog. And I think that is amazing.
That's great.
And Katie, I think it's Ramos. I hope I say that right, Katie. They are both fabulous and wonderful and are doing great things in the Modern Agent Social Club. And Chelsea wants to toast them.
Cheers to them.
Cheers to them. Okay, goodbye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Humbly podcast. Let us know who we should toast to for the next episode.
Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hustle Humbly Podcast. If you have an episode, topic, or question, please email us at hustlehumblypodcast@gmail.com.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. See you next week. Bye.
This is the good life.